Southside's really important to local people. When we began the project, when we first opened to the public 18 months ago, we were surprised at how, with the very first event that we put on, which is a Heritage Open Day, just how many people came. We had 160 people over 2 days. So as we've progressed, we've realised that there's an awful lot that people really appreciate about Southside.
My mate Steve, he's from America and he comes with me every time. And yeah, we've been coming since the beginning, when it was in the Zing Bar in the uni. And then it transferred to a church on the outskirts of Lincoln, and now we've found a proper home.
It could be a real place for people to meet, to congregate, to have a party, to watch movies, watch a band. I mean, all of the things that communities like to do.
A lot of our friends come and we all gather, and it's like a bit of a WhatsApp group. Are we going to go on Friday night? And yes, we do. Love it.
What we're doing is feeding that grassroots gap. It's where people will discover the new band, they'll discover their new hobby. People feel part of the family, which is really difficult to experience when, but just talking from personal experience, you know, you go into a huge venue, you don't always feel like that. So that's quite important for us. I do think that Southside is, and is continuing to be, incredibly important to Lincoln's community as a whole, but particularly this end of the city. You know, for a long time, Lincoln has been viewed by uphill and downhill, or that side of the tracks, train tracks, and this side of the train tracks, which is a real shame because a huge amount of Lincoln's population actually live this end, and there's nothing for them to go to.
There's something I say to people when they ask me about the south of Lincoln. It really is a tale of two cities. And historically, you'd think that the south of Lincoln was the more populous and therefore lower class end of town, and up near the castle and the cathedral was the much less populous and higher upper crust end of town. And to an extent, that's still the case. There's a real sense of not them and us, but two different towns. There's the Lincoln with, you know, the people who live up top, who think that they live somewhere very special, a medieval town that's very cute, it's got lots of interesting tourism associated with it. And then there's the south, which is much more down at heel. And in fact, within this very area, we have some pockets, only pockets, but we do have some pockets that are considered to be some of the most deprived in the UK. So, you know, there's a real difference between the south of Lincoln and uphill, but they're only 1.5 miles apart. The reasons for the divide in Lincoln, I think, is more to do with socialisation, you know, how people see uphill and downhill. And there is a tendency for people uphill to be thought of as living the life. You know, they're having a great time, they've got a beautiful house, they've got, you know, they're in a medieval town. And then downhill, well, it's all a bit down at heel. And as long as we play up to those differences, I think they'll stay there. The more we can do to level it out, the better. But at the moment, just a personal opinion, I mean, I don't see that happening. I'll give you an example. There's one organisation that we've been talking to. They wanted to do a wine tasting as an event for their members. and their base is uphill. And the people we saw were all in favour of it, but the committee basically said no because people didn't want to have to walk downhill and they weren't keen on walking down the high street. I think one of the interesting things about Lincoln is, of course, in the castle and cathedral, you've got Grade 1 historical monuments. I mean, fabulous pieces of history just sat there. And I, for one, would not say for a second that we should be cutting out funding to places like that. In fact, give them more money. But by the same token, what I don't want to see happen is that organisations like ours lose out because all the money goes up there. You know, the pot's got to be big enough for everybody. At the moment, I would suggest it isn't. 5 years ago, they finished a major refurbishment at the castle. They spent £22 million. I want 0.01% of that to make this place run. And there's the gap. And it's making the people in authority who've got the money see that. The undiscovered country for us, looking forward, is maintaining Southside, maintaining our programme. But that takes money. Places are going bust left, right and centre. We're losing 2 grassroots music venues a week in the UK. Our aim is not to be one of those. And we don't cost very much to run. Not compared to, a university, not compared to other venues. I know what other venues cost, and we don't cost that much. We're really sharp, we're really lean, and I think we put on good stuff and people like it. So no, the future to survive, keep going and bring good arts and entertainment to Lincoln.